Alright, I gotta admit, I am not looking forward to this. I think Freya 3 is going to have life on it, and I gotta be honest, my game has been running not so great. Standard O2? Cool. I'm trying to think. No, I was gonna say, I think, was Freya the third companion in Final Fantasy IX? Third companion, not, well, the third party member you got? That's not really the thing. There's, in no way can you slice it that, okay, there is life on the ocean. Just, let's try and land somewhere. But yeah, my game has had some FPS issues, and I do not care that much to fix them, I guess.
Landing her down.
We'll see. I also, well, I will say that, oh, I don't know. Any life immediately outside the ship? Doesn't look like it. What the fuck is that thing? Probably a tree, but who knows? Okay. Oh, we got floaters. So what's the gravity like? .82. Sorry, it was a for a second it was like 0.02? No, it's not 0.2. I guess we're going in this direction. What was I gonna say? I think they have also updated these, actually, it looks like, so it's a little bit easier to tell the differences, which is very appreciated. I'm sure that there are... Another thing with... I mean, you know, like, if you update stuff after the game releases, you can listen to feedback or criticisms and you can correct things. Now, I think from an archival standpoint that it would be really nice to make sure that the like 1.0 versions are always available, or at least saved somewhere, so you can be like, hey, this is what the initial release looks like, and this is what the release looked like, what the game looked like 10 years later or something. But yeah. So I think I had a lot of particular ideas. Very excited about. I was very excited about this when I was very excited about this game when it came out. Good lord. What was I gonna say though? I don't even know. I will say, it does feel nice looking at the... So I'm coming off of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Rescue Team DX, which the dungeons, recording the dungeons can take a long time. It can be hours. I can have one dungeon take up 2 hours if it's a 99 floor, easily. And like there's some stuff I can do to mitigate that, in terms of like overall video length, but still, it's a kind of, can be kind of tough. Whereas this, like, I can record 2 hours and get a billion videos. I don't know. I do enjoy recording gameplay. Also, I have like this omnipresent fear that I accidentally hit the stream button instead of the record button. And if I ever see something out of the corner of my eye, I freak the fuck out. Thinking that it's like a chat message when it's like, I'm recording, not streaming. Like, oh god. But, Fungal Grotto. Of course. Unusual growths. Okay, sure. It's not like I haven't seen the same sort of thing like 5,000 times. But what was I gonna say? I don't even know. I don't want to... I don't know. The term content farm makes me... I don't know. Makes me like... I want to say scared. But scared that like my... the amount of content I do... ends up, and actually I should be heading to a different spot here. Let's try and get on the coast if we can. Tropical forest. I don't know. I don't want to like, I mean, in some way, I do try to go for... I don't know. I could say I go for quantity instead of quality, but it's like, I know the quality level I can do, and I try and make the most I can. Like, I don't know. There is the, and I don't know, well, I want to say like a Chugga Conroy style of video, that wouldn't work for Starfield. Or I wouldn't be able to do 1,700 episodes for it, right? Well, also, I will say that this might be a little bit OP. Lovely. Do I have like a scanner or something? Oh geez. Game does kind of feel like it wants... And yes, I could just not do this, but Yeah. Also, I want to say that this is this weapon mod, the Laredo M2, it's a really good weapon mod because it gives you a lot of options. I have it spec'd out with mostly Laredo equipment, or mostly Laredo accessories. But you can actually do like, there are accessories, you can like choose to have like the accessories that were on that were like exclusive to different manufacturers. Like the laser sight I have is one that's unique to Arbonne or whatever, the what is it, the particle weapons and the stun gun. Oh shit. So, yeah. And I think, like, I don't know, that would be one way that they could really improve, that could make it more interesting, that it's like, you know, that like, when you're doing weapon customization, you could go and have like, you could choose between like 5 different red dots. Maybe they do have their own materials, but they don't necessarily have to. If they just looked different, and that way you can like customize your gun to your personal preference. That'd be cool. Oh, and yeah, I do have the survival elements, which maybe I'll turn off. I do really like how they handle the survival stuff, where it's like just a bunch of, not sliders, but you know, basically sliders. Didn't get rid of, the huge what's-its, though. Oh, dude, I don't know, maybe it's... Okay, cool. I was, like, physically tilting my head at such an extreme angle that I didn't see the notification in the top right. And by such an extreme angle, I mean, it's not that extreme. But, eh. Or are you the thing that shoots stuff? But yeah. And I don't know, like... Well, we'll have to see. Also probably... at least a few more mods that I'm gonna wanna go and... that I'm gonna need to figure out. I was going to talk about Final Fantasy, though. I mentioned that I was making a tabletop RPG. Not necessarily that that relates to Final Fantasy at all, but, yeah, I don't know. Final Fantasy is good. I've also been playing Zenless Zone Zero, and, I don't know, there was somebody... I saw a thing that was like talking about Zenless and Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, I think. And like Honkai Star Rail is apparently, they're all gacha games. Star Rail is apparently turn-based, And there was like, oh, it's turn-based! As if, like, turn-based is, like, some objectively terrible thing. And it's like, what? And I'm just, like, thinking in my mind, I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up. Because, like, I don't know. There's a million types of games. And honestly, like, I don't explore the gacha space too much, but the idea of a sorry, the idea of a gacha game that's an RPG, yeah, I could get behind that. What resource do these guys have? Metabolic agent. Okay. Oh, come on, game. Oh, right, wasn't it, what was it, Z? Yeah. I was thinking, like, wasn't there, like, some sort of, like, radar, or better radar system? And I'm like, yeah, I have that hotkey. My powers, I forgot that this game had powers. Sorry, I was gonna talk about, speaking of, I was gonna talk about my TRPG. And I don't want to share everything, as I'm sure you can understand. But I will say that the main thing I want to do, I kind of want to have, and I don't know, this might be a thing that I do, or this might be a thing I don't do. I kind of want to have like one game, which is maybe a lighter version of the full system I want to make, and then and then learn from that experience, and then use that to make the second one better. I think I might just go with trying to, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just do one system. Maybe I won't. It depends. I will say that the main thing I want to do, and I'm sure this isn't unique, but I want to have, like, the main thing I want my system to be known for is the character creator, where you can create, like, legitimately any character, any creature, using the same system, and it's all relatively balanced. And if by some ungodly means, I want to try and cover everything, but of course I'm going to miss something, because that's just how that happens. That's just how that works. Also, by the way, I have, like, yeah, this nutrient, okay. So what is, okay, we haven't completed the fauna, which is interesting. And there's two things I haven't finished the fauna for. Very interesting indeed. Oh, what was I gonna say? don't even know. Sorry, maybe I'm just a total derp this episode. But no, yeah, so I guess I should say, so my system, I don't think I've talked about this a few times, and I need to come up with a better elevator pitch. But I'm saying that, like, when I say character customizer, I mean, you want to create a human? Okay, you've got human legs, you've got human arms, human torso, human mind, all that stuff. That is a part of the character customization. Now, of course, there's going to be presets, so you don't have to, like, you know. So there's not going to be, for some really common things, like humans, elves, dwarves, kobolds, or whatever, you know, there's going to be a preset, and it's not going to be, you know, there's not going to be like, oh, well, I think a human has this thing. I think a human has large ears versus small ears or medium ears. And that kind of thing. But yeah, and if you're like, hey, I want to play a human, but I kind of want them to have like this one feature. And hey, guess what? You know, all you have to do is, you know, be like, okay, so this is what the human has, and then just say like, hey, I want cat ears, or I want, it wouldn't be cat ears, it's not that specific, but it's like, you know, I want to have medium ears instead of small ears or whatever. I'm actually not sure exactly. I think humans have small ears, is what I settled on. The way it's also balanced, I was just looking at this, so I should remember. I think you have strength, dexterity, spirit, intelligence, and perception, and movement, and those are your stats. What was that? Was that 6? And spirit is, yes, a combination of constitution and charisma. The idea is that, on average, you have your character's stats go from 1 to 10, and then with like a human being a 5 across the board, and then there are larger creatures that, well, depending on the stat, you could go above 10, and I don't know exactly what the limit is that I've made, and I don't know what it'll end up as. There are definitely some interesting things that I'm like, I don't know if this is really balanced. So, yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all works out. Oh, and also size. Size is a thing. So I have 5 sizes right now. Micro, small, medium, large, and macro. And, I mean, I gotta be honest that I'm inspired by, my inspiration for that comes from macro art, specifically. But disappointingly so, that, macros are not like, they're not like macro. I do want to have some more size categories. That's like, I do want to have more size categories, specifically like giant and like massive, giant, leviathan, gargantuan. I don't know what exactly, but those aren't, for the scope of what I'm doing right now, we can ignore those, I think. Well, I don't know, we'll see. Because like a dragon, like a full-grown adult dragon, probably would be above macro, I think is the way I envisioned it. And I am heavily inspired by Cyberpunk Red, I will say. Also Dungeons & Dragons, but I don't want to, I don't know. In the sense that I want to have it be a fantasy setting, and the sense of like I want there to be a class. I do not want there to be a class system, but I want there to be a sort of like there's skills and abilities, and you can make whatever the hell character you want. But at the end of the day, there would be sort of a predefined build, or a guide as to what exactly you could make. Alright, let's change things up here. Deciduous forest? Alright. I don't know what's... well... yeah. And, I don't know necessarily how magic is going to work. I need to come up with, like, some lore. I do think... I want there to be, like... so also, part of the thing is, for abilities, it is, again, it's just like, you choose, hey, I want to have shapeshifting, I want to have lycanthropy, I want to have spellcasting, I want to have a rogue's sneak attack, I want to have multi-attack. Probably not multi-attack, actually, but that kind of thing. And I don't know how I want to set it up, but I think I am interested in the idea of multiple kinds of spellcasters. And I think what I want to do is have... what the hell do these things look like? Things are kind of cool. I want to have there be like wizards who like are purely, their magic is like purely knowledge based. And then a lot of other spellcasters that are more intelligence based. And the wizards, so I know that in I know that in D&D wizards have like a larger overall sort of spell book to play with, but I'm talking like what I want to have is wizards have like the entire spell book, but it costs twice as much to cast spells or some sort of limitation like that. And then there are some specialties. Some specialized ones. But I don't know exactly how I want to set it up. And well, and there's a bunch of other things I have to keep in mind. I should also say that I want to have stamina points, and I want it to be a resource, and it's a terrible idea. I think it is genuinely kind of maybe a terrible idea. But I do want it to be a thing where you can... it's a resource you have to manage, and that's how a lot of the balance is done with large scale and with larger scale and smaller scale characters, where if you're gonna fight... so humans are medium, just for the sense of scale. A kobold would be small, and then like a fairy or a pixie would be micro. And I don't think I've fully... committed to... I haven't fully committed to where large and micro, where exactly those are at. like a giant would be like would a giant be large, or would that be? Oh, I don't know. Well, what do you mean by a giant? I guess because that can vary. But you know, like, what's the height difference, right? Like 10 feet. I think maybe the cutoff that I have written down right now might be 10 feet. Between large and macro. That does sound possible. But, yeah, the idea is that the macros, or the larger side of things, has more HP but lower stamina overall. And, the smaller stuff has higher stamina but lower HP. Also, perhaps to compensate a little bit, the larger things... So if you're medium... So there's 3 sizes of weapon. And a bunch of categories of weapon, but there's small, medium, and large weapons. If you're medium, you can use any weapon. If you're small, you can use small and medium. If you're micro, you can use small. If you're large, you can use medium and large weapons. And if you're a macro, you can only use large. And the idea is, you know, large weapons use more stamina, small weapons use less stamina, but do less damage, and that kind of thing. The idea is also, like, small weapons would be, like, pistols, medium would be rifles, and then large would be, like, rocket launchers. And, of course, theoretically, you know, you might have, some potential weapons, like some giant-ass gun that shoots 22. Like some cannon-sized weapon that's been converted to shoot 22. Or 9mm. So like those, like, totally would and could probably exist. And especially, like, yeah. There's also armor, and there's resistances, which I think is an idea I am very interested in. The idea behind armor is that I want it to be like Cyberpunk, and I want every attack roll to be an attack versus an evade. That is the plan. Also, I gotta admit, I've completely derped. I was not even looking at the flora. It could have been biome complete for all I know, and I wouldn't have seen it, but obviously that is not the case. I was going to talk about Final Fantasy, like exclusively Final Fantasy in this thing, but we can save that for the next one. Also, no bugs or like cockroach, little creepy crawly things, so that's nice. Not having to track down those. I think we've got, what, 2 more of those we need to scan. Let's... We'll say that, like, this does look cool. That's one thing I will always harken back to. Nothing else, this game does look pretty. But yeah. problem with my thing is that, my game... Well, one thing I've got a problem with is that I've got ideas for the world, but I don't really have the talent for fleshing those things out necessarily. Like, I think I can come up with large macro sort of concepts. Coming up with the smaller details story-wise can be a little difficult. Now, I can slap together a campaign for a tabletop game. I can slap together some homemade story, but like writing a story, I don't know, that's a little bit different. I want it to be a science fantasy. That is my dream. But I think the first iteration, I want it to be setting agnostic, but ultimately I want it to be like a science fantasy thing. But yeah, that was not an hour, which I think is a good sign. So until next time, have a good day, great day even. Chowskis.